Hello everyone, I am Ojo and in this video I'll show you how to overcome the infamous unknown error generated by Google Earth Decoder that makes it very difficult to use Google photogrammetry inside Flight Simulator. With the scripts developed by Thalixte, we can use Google Earth Decoder even with the most recent versions of the SDK, including the latest available at the moment, which is version 14 that I'm using for this very tutorial. In the future, the problems may return, so beware that even this guide may one day no longer be valid. Also, it is good to know that I will show you the steps that have given me the best results, but I cannot be 100% sure that there will be no issues. This video is based on a tutorial in Portuguese published by Brazilian YouTuber Roducão. Obrigado! First of all, let's launch Flight Simulator and activate the developer menu from Options, General Options, Developers, and from here. Then we have to download both the SDK installer and the samples folders from the Help submenu. Unlike earlier versions, the sample folders are separated from the main installer, so we have to install them both, the SDK and the samples. Once we are done with the installation, let's go into the samples folder and copy the simple scenery directory. Let's keep it in our clipboard for just a moment, just long enough to create a new folder where we will place the copy of simple scenery that we just created. We have to rename this copied folder. In my case, I choose Ojo Tutto. We open the folder and we rename the scenery project XML with the same name as the main folder. With a text editor, we open the XML file and put the name that we chose in this position on the 5th line. We close and save. Let's now open the package definitions directory and rename the folder contained in here with the usual name. We also do the same for the other XML file. We then open this XML file. Inside, we have to place the name that we chose in these positions on line 1, line 18, and line 19. We close and save. Finally, let's delete the two folders contained inside package sources, scenes and model lib. And now we have a folder that is prepared to receive the files that we will recover from Google Earth. In the video description, I have listed all the links to the files that we need to download for the next steps. I've also listed the versions that are said to be compatible with the procedure that I am showing in this tutorial. I'll try to keep this list up to date as much as possible, but please leave a comment if you have news about the new updated versions. It is essential that you use the recommended versions only, so be careful about what you download. Once you have downloaded everything, you should have these files in your computer. First of all, let's unzip the release archive that contains the Google Earth Decoder app. And make sure to unzip it in a new folder. Open its folder and launch Google Earth Decoder by double-clicking on the exe file. On this world map, we have to find the area that we want to import to Flight Simulator. Before doing so, make sure that the area that you chose actually has photogrammetry in Google Earth. Otherwise, everything that you will be doing would be pointless. For this tutorial, I've chosen the Italian city of Benevento. I'm sure many of you have never heard of it, and I have never been there myself, but it's a city with a long history that goes back to the Roman Empire and even beyond. Let's zoom in and select the area by holding the right button and drawing a rectangle on the map. Now we have to be careful. Areas that are too large or contain too many map pieces, let's call them that, risk causing problems in the next phase. My suggestion is to keep the size of the rectangle under 1–1.5 kilometers in length. You might want to experiment with larger sizes, but the larger you go, the higher the chances of having errors later on. The output folder is the location where we want our files to end up. Here we have to write the address of our package sources folder. The level of detail here below should have 17 as the lower value on the left and 19 as the higher value on the right. These are the values suggested by Thalixte, the guy behind the optimization tools that we'll be using in this tutorial. It is better not to go below 17, but you can try to raise the higher level over 19, but only for smaller areas. The next menu gives us an easy but somewhat limited way to apply some color correction to the texture files that we are going to download. You have to experiment a bit with these values, but in the video description I put those that worked well with this specific territory. Once we are done, we can click on download, and we have to make sure that the number here is not too big. 1500 and below is what I found to be a good choice. Too high the number, too many requests will be sent to the Google servers, and you will be at risk of having your IP banned for a few hours. Once it says finished, we are done with Google Earth Decoder. Let's go back to the programs that we downloaded earlier and install Node.js and Blender. Then unzip the archive that contains the optimization tools by Thalixte. We have now to launch Blender in administrator mode. Let's remove the pop-up by clicking anywhere outside it, then press A on the keyboard followed by X and D, as in Detroit. In the Edit menu, we choose Preferences, then Add-ons. Here we click on Install and look for the MSFS Toolkit zip file. It is not necessary to unzip it, we just select it and then click on Install. Click on the Window menu and open the console window. Click on the Scripting tab and click on Open. Here we need to select the folder containing the scripts made by Thalixte. The one that I'll be using for this tutorial is Scenery Optimization. The code should look like this. There are only a few lines that we have to modify here. The first one is line 31. Here we should put the folder where our project folder is contained. Not the project folder itself, but the folder that contains it. In my case, I have it on drive F, and the folder is tutorial, because my project folder is inside the tutorial folder. Then we move to line 34, and here we put the name of the project folder. So, in my case, Ojo-tut. On line 37, we have to write the address of the folder that contains the optimization tools scripts. This is where retrieve_pos.js can be found. This JavaScript script is also mentioned here. So in case you want to use a different script, you can just change the name that you find on line 16, but we are just using the one that Thalixte made for us. So we put that address here and make sure that you have put a double backslash instead of just one. So you see also here I put 2 backslashes. On line 40, we just have to put the address of the folder where we installed the SDK for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So in this case, I have just to change the drive, but the rest I keep it the same. I mean, this part maybe is different on your system, but the second part, tools bin, should remain the same because this is the subfolder where we can find FS package tool X. Let's ignore this group of lines and let's move to line 48. Here we put once again the name of our project followed by .xml. So on line 54 we do the same. Please be aware that I've skipped line 51. This should remain objects XML. On line 57, well, we can put our name as authors. A little narcissism never hurts. Now we have to make a couple of choices. On line 28, we can ask the script to create a single texture image file from all the textures that we downloaded from Google Earth. In order to do this, however, we need an add-on that can be downloaded from the link that you find in the code here and also in the video description. However, it costs $5, and even if you can ask the author to give it to you for free, if you give him a good reason to do so, for this video I assume that you don't want to invest any money in making scenarios for Flight Simulator. Therefore, I'm going to write false instead of true on line 28. Actually, having a single texture file is very convenient when it comes to applying some color correction, but this step is completely optional. Then we have to decide if the script should build the package outside Flight Simulator, saving us the need to do so once inside the simulator. This only works if Flight Simulator is not running. Flight Simulator is not currently running on my system, so I can leave true here on line 60. We can now run the script. While the script is running, we cannot interact with Blender, but we can bring up the console in order to follow what's going on. If we made any mistake in modifying the code, the console will show you an issue and the script will be stopped. If you need to kill the script while it's running, you can just press Ctrl+C. If you left true on line 60, Flight Simulator will be launched in the background and will start building the package in another window. Once it's done, it will ask you to press any key on the keyboard in order to continue. So select the window and then click any key. The console from Blender should also confirm that the script did its job correctly. We are now ready to launch Flight Simulator for real this time and place our scenery inside the simulator. Let's open the world map and let's go to Benevento, because this is the city that I selected. Here we are. Okay, so we place our plane here, set as departure, and then fly. Once inside the simulator, we have to put it on pause, so options from the dev menu, pause simulation, then camera, developer camera, and then tools, project editor. In the project editor window, we click on project, open project, and then we go inside our project folder, in my case OjoTut, and we choose the XML file that we need to open. The name of your project should appear in blue here in the project editor window with a little triangle. So we click on the little triangle and two things will appear, My Scene and My Model Lib. We click on My Scene, but we are missing a window here, the inspector window. If you don't have it open, you can open it by clicking on View here, Inspector, and here we are. The inspector window is open. So, having selected My Scene, we can click on Load in Editor. Many new windows will appear here, and we can close Material Editor because we don't need it. And we focus on the Scenery Editor. Here we can see that there is a group called Scenery that contains all the tiles that we imported from Google Earth. Without the optimization tools, here we would find only elements with the unknown name, and these elements would be useless. But this is not the case, so if we click on this triangle here, you see that all the tiles are named with a code. So let's double click on the first one so we can put the camera on it. Here it is. So let's move around a little bit so we can see it better. And yes, so our first tile is inside this box, let's call it box, and we should now select all the tiles in this group. So while having the first one selected, we scroll down, and while holding the left shift key on the keyboard, not the right one, but just the left one on the keyboard, we click with the left mouse button on the last element here. And here they are. All the tiles are selected. So we can now see if they are actually there and not just empty boxes like it appears now. So by using the green arrow here, we move and we see that the map has been imported correctly. We can do just a quick visual check. And I take this opportunity to show you the Roman Theatre in Benevento and also the Arco di Traiano, the most important monument in Benevento. I would say that everything is quite nice, I would say. Oh, we also have the Italian flag here. We just have to do a couple of operations now because we need to align this map to the one that we find in Flight Simulator. I have noticed that the maps that we import from Google Earth are a little off from the correct position that is shown in Flight Simulator. So we have to move them just a little bit, just a few meters, okay? Just a few feet, if you use feet as a size. So let's bring it down again, so that is like a bit mixed with the Flight Simulator map. And we can see from this bridge over here that the one from Google Maps is here, and the one from Bing is here. So we have to move our map just a little bit in order to have a perfect, rather perfect correspondence between Flight Simulator and Google Earth Maps. Okay, so I think this is fine-ish, but fine enough for us. So we can just bring the map just a little bit over here. But as you can see now, we have a couple of problems because we have the buildings that are created by Flight Simulator that are covering the buildings that we imported from Google Earth. So we have to remove these buildings. And also we have the texture from the ground that is a bit higher than the one that we imported from Google Earth. So we need to remove the buildings and also bring down a little bit the original texture so we can use the one that we imported just now. In order to do so, we need to create a polygon or a rectangle in this area and use it to make the modification that we need. We have to do like this. We go to the Objects window, we choose Polygon from the Object Type menu, and then we click on Add. You see that near my little arrow for the mouse, we have a red cross. This red cross is used to put the points that will create the polygon. So by holding the left control key on the keyboard, we can place these points. So I won't be very precise here, but precise enough for what I want to do. So let's create this polygon here. So in order to close the polygon, we can press the return key on the keyboard, or we can double click on the mouse, left mouse button, of course. And here we are. So now I have created a polygon. Now let's see if I was right or wrong when I created it. It's inside, okay, the perimeter of our map, so it is fine. We can change the position of the points, so this is not a big problem. So let's select the polygon again. And on the Properties window, oh, by the way, if properties, objects, or gizmo are not visible in the screen, you can bring them out by clicking on View and going, you see, Objects, Properties, and Gizmo. So you can use this menu to bring them out. Let's go on Properties and click on Exclude All. And if we zoom in again, we will see that the buildings that were made by Flight Simulator are not here anymore. The Roman Theater is free from that strange building that was inside it before. But as I said, we need also to bring down the terrain from Flight Simulator in order to bring out our map. In Properties, we click on Terraforming, and we can already see that the terrain has been moved. But just to show you what it means, so by using the green arrow, we can bring it up, you see, and bring it down like this. And we can see that now the terrain is taken from our map instead, and not from Flight Simulator. Okay, I'm checking that everything is kinda fine, of course, because the terrain is not completely flat. Some parts can appear a bit distorted, like here, for example, you see, there is this huge gap showing that our map is just like cardboard. You can see there's nothing below. It's just a trick. So we can bring the texture just a little bit more like this, or we can move the point and change the shape of the polygon. Okay, we're losing a little bit of detail here and there, but I mean, it depends on where and how you want to integrate your new map inside Flight Simulator. Here also we have some little distortion here, so we can just change, but this is something that it's up to you. I mean, I'm just showing you how it's done in a very basic way, by the way. So I'm not looking to be extremely precise here. Of course, then you can add some details, like putting some polygons here to recreate the water of the river. I mean, there are many things to do if you want to add some details, but most of the work has been done. We can change also here so that we have just a little better integration here. Okay, well, not perfect, but good enough, I would say. Okay, you see, it needs a little bit to update, and I think it's a good compromise, no? Even the colors that we changed only with the color correction tool in Google Earth Decoder, I think they are quite good. I mean, you can't really tell the difference between our map and the one made by Google, I mean, Flight Simulator, at least when we are speaking about colors, of course. Okay, I think everything is fine, but you might find some issues now. Issues that we didn't see when we first checked the tiles. And you see, there are some gaps between the tiles now. And this is related to something that the optimization tools do to our scenery. Basically, each tile is tied to a specific altitude and to a specific position. Also, I think it is. When we move the tiles left and right, around, this position gets changed, of course, and also the altitude gets modified. This means that the altitude here will be ruined in a way, and the gaps will appear. But there is a simple solution. If these gaps appeared after you moved the map, I didn't see this solution in other tutorials written or whatever, but I think it works well. But just and only if this little issue with the tiles appears after you moved. You have to select all the tiles like this, go to Properties and click on Snap to Ground. This will put all the tiles at the same altitude and will make all the gaps disappear. Let's go back to that ruin here. You see, there is no more gap. This resolved the issue, and you see, now the map is just a bit above the ground, but this is easily corrected. We click again on Snap to Ground, and we remove this option, and then we can move the map down again in order to have the map at the same position as before, in the correct position, more or less. We can also use the gizmo, this third value, which is the altitude, to make sure that we place the map again at the same altitude as before. But I mean, you can just do like this. Doesn't change much. Okay. And again, even if we moved the map, but we moved it up and down in the altitude axis, the gaps have disappeared again. So I think we did a good job, if I can say so myself, and we are ready to prepare the final steps of this tutorial in order to bring the map inside Flight Simulator without having to use the developer menu. Let's go to Save Scenery. We save this scenery inside the Package Sources folder and then in the Scene folder. Here we have to give a name to this scenery, but it's just to save the changes that we made and the polygon that we created. So we can use any kind of name, I think. I never had problems with any name. We call it Benevento, like the name of the city. and we save it. So save. And then we go to the project editor window. We click on the blue name of our project, and then in inspector, we click on build package. This should take very little. I didn't make any cut. Oh, well, I see. Ah, no, this is okay. Don't worry, because as soon as we click build package, we won't see the project again in this window. So don't worry, you see the terrain completely distorted here, but it's just because after doing build package, the program just removes the scenery from the map. So don't worry. Let's click OK after accepting this message. OK. And we can close Flight Simulator and put the package inside the community folder that holds all the mod files that we put inside Flight Simulator. And here we are again in our project folder. We go to Packages. We find a folder that has the same name as our project. We copy it, Ctrl+C, and we put it in the community folder. As soon as the copy is done, we can start Flight Simulator once again. And here we are flying over the map that we imported from Google Earth. You see that also the level of detail changes when we move closer to it, because when we imported this map, we included 3 levels of detail. Everything seems to work well. I mean, what's to say? I mean, it's exactly what we wanted to have. And we can see that it worked. I'm pretty satisfied with the results. So if you have any questions, just know that I'm no programmer, I'm no coder. So I cannot give you specific answers regarding the code itself, but I can give you answers based on what I tried and the issues that I found and something like this. So don't be shy, leave a message, leave a comment, and I will try to help you the best I can. Of course, you can also ask the creator of the tools, and you find him in the link that you find in the description here in the video. He's very helpful. I must say that he's very helpful. I didn't interact with him directly, but I see that he always reply with very precise answers. So it's also thanks to his comments on his work that I was able to make this tutorial. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know also in the comment if this really worked for you. And I'm your Signor Ojo, and I hope to see you again in another tutorial if I make another one in English sooner or later. Have a nice flight.